Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to Madam Hilati binti Alillah and my dear classmates. So for today, I will present it to you guys, my group, and I will present it to you guys chapter 10, which is internet selection. Okay, before we go any further, my name is Siti Nur Khatijah binti Mat Yusof. My matrix number is I1910379, and I myself will present about introduction, legal issues, summary, and also case study. Okay, first things first is introduction. Okay, what do you know about internet selection? Okay, internet selection refers to the assessment and evaluation of employees from within the organization. Preliminary issues guide the use of assessment methods include the logic of prediction, the nature of predictors, and the development of a selection plan. Okay, substantive assessment methods are used to select finalists from among the internal candidates, and discretionary assessment methods are used to select offer recipients from among the finalists. Okay, pemilihan dalaman. Internal selection is pemilihan dalaman. Okay, merujuk kepada penilaian pekerja dalam organisasi semasa seseorang pekerja itu berpindah antara pekerjaan ke pekerjaan yang lain melalui sistem pemindahan dan kenaikan pangkat. Okay, seterusnya, internal selection ini juga mempunyai nilai praktikal yang besar kepada sesebuah organisasi kerana selalunya mereka lebih mengenali pekerja sendiri dan hanya bergaul dengan pekerja sendiri lebih baik daripada pemohon luar. Okay. Dan sesuatu keputusan daripada internal selection yang berkesan ini boleh memotivasikan pekerja dalam mana-mana organisasi atau syarikat. Okay. Preliminary issues pula. Preliminary issues ni ialah isu awal, okay, yang akan dibincangkan untuk panduan setiap penggunaan kaedah penilaian, termasuklah the logic of prediction, the nature of predictors, sifat peramal, and the development of a selection plan, perkembangan kepada setiap sesuatu pilihan rancangan yang dibuat. Okay, kaedah penilaian awal digunakan untuk memilih calon daripada kalangan pemohon dalaman. Kaedah-kaedah yang dinilai termasuklah pengurusan dari segi bakat, skill atau talent, succession system iaitu sistem pergantian, penilaian rakan sebaya, penilaian kendiri, managerial sponsorship, penajaan kepada pengurusan, and informal discussion, perbincangan tidak formal, and also recommendation. Okay. Kriteria atau ciri-ciri yang digunakan untuk memilih seseorang candidates itu akan dibincangkan. Okay. Substantive assessment methods pula digunakan untuk membuat pemilihan bagi calon terakhir daripada kalangan calon dalaman. Okay. Substantive ialah suatu kaedah yang memberikan hak, kewajipan, kebebasan dan kuasa kepada orang ramai. Pelbagai kaedah akan dikaji, including seniority and also experience. Okay. Ujian pengetahuan pekerjaan, penilaian prestasi, dan penilaian kepada kemahiran dalam bidang promotion, itu promosi. Okay. Assessment centers, which is pusat penilaian, simulasi temu bual, promotion panels, panel bahagian kenaikan pangkat, and also review boards. Okay. Kriteria yang digunakan untuk memilih antara kaedah penilaian substantif juga akan dibincangkan. Okay. Discretionary assessment adalah kaedah penilaian menggunakan budi bicara yang untuk memilih penerima tawaran daripada kalangan calon-calon terakhir. Okay. Faktor yang menjadi asas ini juga akan dipertimbangkan, termasuk kerisauan kepada peluang pekerjaan sama rata. Okay. Dan tindakan affirmative, sama ada calon terakhir sebelum ini menjadi calon terakhir dan mendapat kedua tentang calon dan pendapat kedua tentang calon terakhir oleh orang lain dalam organisasi. Okay, dia tak semestinya satu pendapat saja. Dia kena banyak-banyak pendapat supaya seseorang yang kita nilai itu seseorang yang kita nilai itu mampu mencapai kriteria yang diperlukan oleh organisasi itu. Okey, kesemua kaedah penilaian ini memerlukan sebanyak yang mungkin data untuk dikumpulkan. Sehubungan dengan itu juga, attention must be given to support services, iaitu kepada sokongan perkhidmatan. Okay, kepakaran yang diperlukan untuk mengendali, mentadbir dan mentafsir peramal, keselamatan privasi dan confidentiality, kerahsiaan. Okay, dan juga penyeragaman prosedur. Also, the use of internal selection methods, penggunaan kaedah pemilihan dalaman memerlukan pemahaman yang jelas tentang isu undang-undang. Okay, itu ialah discretionary assessment methods.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurdayana Ayunirus Azizi. My metric number is I19103626. Okay, so today I would like to explain about preliminary issue. Okay, what is preliminary issue? Preliminary issue is an internal selection that has a tremendous practical value to an organization because one almost always know one's own employees better than external applicant. An effective internal selection result can be motivated employees to be more value in any organization, and the evaluation method require a large amount of data to be collected. Okay, preliminary issue, the logic of prediction. Okay, the logic of prediction is indicator of internal applicant degree of success in past situation should be predictive of their likely success in the new situations. Okay, past situations is include previous job as well as the current one held by the applicant with the organization. The new situation is the internal vacancy the applicant is seeking via the organization's transfer or promotion system. Okay, specifically, indicator of internal applicant degree of success in past situation should be predictive of their likely success in the new situation. There may also be similarities between internal and external selection in terms of effectiveness of selection method. Okay, this method also have validity in internal selection decision, and personality measure have been found to be a valid predictor in selecting top corporate leader. And the last one is internal selection is also has an important advantages over external selection. There is two factor can be derailed to the logic of prediction. Okay, next is types of predictor. Okay, there is usually greater depth and relevance to the data available on internal candidates relative to external selection. Okay, types of predictor being used in external selection are also applicable to the different types of internal predictors, and there is usually greater depth and relevance to the data available on internal candidates. An organization can go to its own files of manager to get reports on the applicant's previous experience. Okay, next is about selection plan. Okay, why do we need the selection plan? Okay, this is important for internal selection to avoid the problems of favoritism and gut instinct that can be especially prevalent in internal selection. Feel hunch, gut instinct, intuition and the like do not suitable for well-developed predictor. Okay, relying solely on others' feeling about the job applicant may result in lower hiring standard for some employees and decision with low validity. Okay, it is important that a selection plan be used for internal selection. Okay, internal selection is based on who you know rather than on relevant knowledge, skill, ability and other characteristics, which is we call it as KSOS. Okay, decision error often occur when relying on subjective feelings for internal selection decision. And the last one is internal selection is imperative that a selection plan will be used for internal as well as external selection. Okay, next is initial assessment method. What is initial assessment method? Okay, initial assessment methods used to select internal candidates from among the internal applicants. The methods that will be reviewed include the talent management, succession system, peer assessment and self-assessment, managerial sponsorship and informal discussion recommendations. The criteria that should be used to choose among these methods will be discussed. Okay, the internal applicant pool is narrowed down to candidate using the initial assessment method. Okay, the first one is talent management or succession system. Through the internal selection is attractive to employees, a major problem for organizations, especially medium-sized and large one, is finding out which employees have to the desired skills. Talent management or succession system, sometimes called human capital management, keep an ongoing organizational record of the skills, talent and capabilities of an organization's employee to inform human resources decision. Talent management system or succession system see a recent survey of large multinational revealed that the less than half have such a system in place. A good talent management succession system includes the KSOS held by each employee in the organization. And one of the problem with talent management system is that they often quickly become outdated. Okay. Talent management system or succession system is is a major problem with internal selection is by finding out which employees have the desired skills. Okay, this is where the talent management system comes into play. One of goal of the system is to facilitate the internal selection decision by keeping and organized up to date the record of employee skill and talent and the capabilities. Okay, next is peer assessment. Assessments by peer or co-worker can be used to evaluate the promotability of an internal applicant. A variety of methods can be used, including peer ratings, peer nomination, and peer rankings. A virtue of peer assessment is that they rely on rather presumably and very knowledgeable of the applicant KSOS due to their day-to-day contact with them. Peer assessment are used more often with open rather than closed system of internal requirement. Okay, peer assessment is an assessment by peer of coworker that can be used and rely on rather who are very knowledgeable of the applicant KSOS due to their day-to-day contact by them. Okay, next is about self-assessment. This procedure is sometimes used with open requirement system. They are also need to ensure that the employees are realistic in their self-assessment. Indication also warranted given that even the inclusion of self-assessment may result in biased promotion judgment by HR expert and novice alike. Okay. Self-assessment employees asked to evaluate their own skills. Employees supervisor need to ensure that employees are realistic in their self-assessment. Okay, next is managerial sponsorships. Increasingly, organizations are relying on higher-ups to identify and develop the KSOS of those at the lower level in the organization. In the other organization, these matches may naturally occur, often progressing from coach to sponsor to mentor as the relationship mentor matches. Okay, some organizations have formal mentorship programs where the employee are assigned coaches, sponsors, and mentors. In other organizations, these matches may naturally occur, often the progressing from coach to sponsor to mentor as the relationship matcher. Regardless of the formality of the relationship, these higher up often have considerable influence in promotion decision. Important to is the developmental nature of these relationships. Okay, sponsor are in a position to not only internally select the candidates to sponsor but also give these individuals valuable developmental experience that make them viable candidates in the future. Okay, next we go to informal discussions and recommendation. For many promotion, much or all of the decision processes occur outside normal channels through the informal discussion and recommendation. Informal discussion are a common means of internal selection decision, especially in small companies. They may have limited validity because they are quite subjective. Okay, not all promotion decisions are made on the basis of formal human resource policies and procedure. Although such informal decisions are a common means of internal selection decision, especially in small companies, they may have a limited validity because they are quite subjective. Okay, the last one is choice of initial assessment method. Research has been conducted on the effectiveness of each method, which will now be presented to help determine which initial assessment method should be used. As we discussed, there are several formal and informal methods of initial assessment available to screen internal applicants to produce a list of candidates. Research has been conducted on the effectiveness of each method, which will now be presented to help determine which initial assessment method should be used. Okay. The same criteria are applied to evaluate the effectiveness of this predictor as were used to evaluate the effectiveness of predictor for external selection. Use refer to how much or how often the predictor is utilized. Cost is refer to expense incurred in using the predictor, and the reliability is referred to the consistency of measurement. Validity refer to the strength for the relationship between the predictor and the job performance, and perhaps this will take place as organizations continue to decentralize decision making and empower employees to make business decisions historically made only by the supervisor. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Khairiah Khairunisa binti Rohisam. My metric ID I19103631. So today I will continue to present subtopic substantive assessment methods. Apa yang dimaksudkan dengan substantive assessment method? Yang mana kumpulan pemohon dalaman dikecilkan kepada calon yang menggunakan kaedah penilaian awal. Kaedah penilaian substantif berikut digunakan untuk menentukan calon dalaman yang mana akan menjadi finalis kekanan dan pengalaman, pekerjaan ujian pengetahuan, penilaian prestasi, penilaian keboleh promokan, pusat penilaian, simulasi temuduga dan panel promosi dan papan semakan. Setiap kaedah ini dibincangkan dan diikuti dengan penilaian umum ke semua kaedah. Okey, slide seterusnya saya akan terangkan satu persatu kaedah yang digunakan untuk penilaian substantif ini. First point is seniority and experience. Immediately, the concept of seniority and experience may seem the same. In reality, however, there are quite difference. Seniority typically refer to length of service or tenure with the organization, department or job. For example, company seniority is made sure as length of continued employment into an organization. The difference between the present date of employment and the date of hire. Thus, seniority is a purely quantitative measure that has nothing to do with the type or quality of job experience. Okay.
In contrast, experience generally has a broader meaning, while seniority may be an aspect of the experience. The experience itself cover a wider range. For example, I can give two employees who have worked in the same company for 20 years may have the same level of seniority but a very different level of experience if one of them has performed several different jobs, workers in different organization areas, and enrolled in various training programs. Experience cover not only the period of service in the organization or in various positions in the organization, but also the type of activity carried out in those positions. So, seniority and experience are often considered synonym. Examples show that they are quite different. Okay, second point is job knowledge test. Job knowledge measure person mastery of the concept required to perform a particular job. Working knowledge is a complex that encompasses of both ability, which is capacity to learn, and seniority, which is opportunity to learn. It is usually measured with a paper and pencil test. To develop paper and pencil test to assess working knowledge, the content domain from which the test question will be constructed must be clear. So, work knowledge tests are often used in job where specific job knowledge is required immediately on the first day of employment. Accordingly, it is often used for jobs that require technical and specialized knowledge that cannot be acquired and learned quickly. The job knowledge test is very specific to the job for which the candidate is selected. For example, a job knowledge test for an information technology analytics in the healthcare industry might ask about knowledge of specific software used in that industry, such as Epic and NextGen. Okay. Although job knowledge is not well researched method of aiding its internal and or external employee selection, it holds great promise as a predictor of job performance. This is because it reflects an assessment of previous experience of an application and important knowledge, skill, ability, and other characters, namely cognitive ability. Okay, point yang ketiga adalah performance appraisal. Okay, predictor of futures job performance is a past job performance. This assumes that elements of the future job are similar to the past job. Data on employees' previous performance are routinely collected as a part of the performance appraisal process and thus available for use in internal selection. One advantage of performance appraisal is that it is readily available in many organizations. Another desirable feature is that they are likely to capture both ability and motivation. For example, performance in highly technical position, which is scientist and engineer, may require certain skill that are required in both junior and senior level position. Thus using result of the performance appraisal of the junior position is appropriate in predicting performance in the senior position. If organization rely on performance appraisal to make internal staff decision, one challenge is to ensure that performer makes sure that interpret equally by appraiser. This is especially true when assessment from multiple sources are obtained. The next point is promotability rating. In many organizations, an assessment or promotability is made at the same time that performance appraisal are conducted. Replacement and succession planning frequently use both of type of assessment. Promotability assessment is useful not only from a selection perspective but also from a recruitment perspective. By discussing what needs to be promoted, employee development may be encouraged as well as coupled with organization sponsorship of the opportunity needed to development. Next, the development of new skill in employees increase the internal recruitment group for promotion. Okay. Caution must be exercised in using promotability rating if employee receive a separate evaluation for purpose of performance appraisal, promotability and pay that may receive mixed message. For example, it will be difficult to understand why one received an excellent performance rating and a solid pay raise, but at the same time was rated as not promotable. Okay, point yang kelima adalah assessment center, yang mana an assessment center is an elaborate employee selection method that is primarily used internally and for higher level job. It consists of a collection of predictor used for a forecast success, and it is used for higher level job because of the higher cost involved in conducting the center. The assessment center can be used to select employees for lower level job as well. This is rarely done. Assessment center has 3 points. First is characteristics of assessment center, whereas a specific characteristic vary from situation to situation. Assessment center generally have some common characteristics. Job candidates usually participate in an assessment center for a period of day rather than hour. Most assessment center last 2-3 days, but some may be as long as 5 days. Typically, they are selected to participate by other members of the organization, such as their supervisor. Often the selection is based on the current job performance level of the employee. At the end of the assessment center, participants were assigned by an assessor. The most frequently used exercise are the in-basket exercise, group discussion and case analysis. For the second point is validity and effective practice. The validity of assessment centers assessment construct of the often questioned. Research has shown that there are stronger training and evaluated effect than dimension effect, meaning there is higher agreement in training and in evaluated than in dimension. Recent research explained that the reliability of assessment center rating is a complex interactive between assessor, training and dimension, and recommend segregating assessment into final category as opposed to aggregating assessment into a single score. However, it is it is unclear whether the improvement is construct validity is large enough to warrant the increased complexity that will result from such separation. In short, the evaluation center dimension does not indicate much construct validity questioning the content of the item being inputted. Yang ketiga adalah assessment for global assignment. When assessment center we develop, little thought was given to the prospect of using assessment data to forecast job success in a foreigner environment. As globalization continues, however, organizations are increasingly promoting individuals into the overseas position. A survey indicated that 80% of mid-sized and large companies send professionals abroad, and many plan on increasing the percentage. Okay, because overseas assignment place additional demand of employee beyond the normal skill and motivation required to the perform employment in the host country. Overseas post staff present special challenge for employer. In fact, one study revealed that the culture factors are more important for success in assignment abroad than technical skill factor. While many competencies are essential to expedite success, such as family stability or support and language skill, the most important competencies are culture, adaptation and flexibility. Okay, next one is interview simulation. An interview simulation might make the oral communication required on the job. It is sometimes used in an assessment center, but less frequently than in basket exercise, leaderless group discussion and case analysis. It is also used as a predictor break from the assessment center. There are several different forms of the interview simulation. First one is role play. By role playing, the job candidate is placed in a simulate situation where he or she must interact with someone in the workplace, such as boss, subordinate, and or customer. The interview or other individual play one role, and the job candidate play the role of the person in the position applied for. So, for example, in selection someone to be promoted to the supervisor level, job candidates may be asked to play the role of dealing with difficult employee. Okay, second is fact finding. In fact finding interview, job candidates are present with case or problem incomplete information. The candidate's job is to ask from the interview or source person additional fact needed to resolve the case. Candidates for the position of EEO management, for example, may be presented with case where advice affect a purpose. The candidates will be evaluated by the interview according to the data he asked to confirm or not the advice effect. Last is oral presentation. In many job presentation need to be made to client or the board of director. To select someone to perform in role, an oral presentation may be required. The approach is useful, for example, to look at the type of sale rate a consultant might click or to see how the executive will present he or her proposed strategy plan to the board of the directors. Okay, point ketujuh adalah promotion panel and review board. In the public sector, it is a common practice to use a panel or board of people to check a candidate eligibility. Often both internal and external candidates are evaluated. A panel and board typically consist of the employment expert, human resource professional, and representative from constituency in the community represented by the board. Having a board hire public servant such as a school superintendent or fire and police official offer two advantages. First, like an assessment center, there are multiple assessors to ensure that complete and accurate assessment of the candidate qualification. Second is by participating in the selection process, constituents are likely to be more commitment to the result achieved. Okay, last point is choice of substantive assessment method. Along with a research on initial assessment method, research has also been conducted on substantive assessment method. The same criteria are applied to evaluating the effectiveness of this predictor as were used to evaluate the effectiveness of initial assessment method. In particular, a computational knowledge test, promotable assessment center have a strong track record in terms of reliability and validity in selecting candidates. A very promising development for internal selection is the use of occupational knowledge test. The validity of the test seems large, but unfortunately some organizations use it for internal selection purpose. Okay, the effectiveness of several internal selection predictor is unknown at this stage. Interview simulation appear to be a promising technique for job that require public relation skill. All of the technique require additional research, particularly with regard to utility, applicant response, and adverse effect associated with all substantive evaluation method. Okay, next slide is discretionary assessment method. Discretionary method are used to narrow down the list of finalists to those who will receive job offer. Sometimes all finalists will receive offer, but other time there may not to be enough position to fill for each finalist to receive an offer. And with external selection, this discretionary assessment are sometimes made on the basis of organizational citizenship behavior and staffing philosophic regarding. Okay, first, previous finalists who did not accept a job offer did not just disappear like that. They may stay with the organization in hope of getting an offer the next time position is opening. On the margin, this may be a factor in decision making, as being bypassed for the second time can create this sympathetic employee. As a result, preview finally might be offered more than first time finalists. All other things be equal. Second is multiply evaluator are typically used with internal selection. That is not only the opinion of the higher management can be used choose who will accept the job offer, but so can be opinion of other who are knowledgeable about the candidate's profile and current job requirement. As a result, in deciding which candidate will receive job offer, evaluation by people other than the higher manager might be accorded substantial weight in the decision making process. Okay, that's all from me. I will give to the next presentation.
Okay, next slide is legal issues. Okay, from a legal perspective, methods and processes of internal selection are to be viewed as the same way as those of external selection. The laws and regulations do not distinguish between internal and external selection. Some brief comments to be made about the internal selection legal influences of the Uniform Guidelines on Employee Selection Procedures (UGESP) and the glass ceilings. Okay, what is legal issues? Okay, legal issues ni dari perspektif undang-undang, kaedah dan proses pemilihan dalaman perlu dilakukan dan dilihat menggunakan cara yang sama seperti pemilihan luaran. Okay. Undang-undang dan peraturan tidak membezakan antara pemilihan dalaman dan pemilihan luaran. Okay. So, consequently, selalunya most of the legal influences on internal selection, kebanyakan undang-undang memberi kesan atau pengaruh terhadap internal selection. Okay, however, some brief comments, ada beberapa comments yang dibuat to be made, kenyataan ringkas telah dibuat mengenai internal selection legal influences of the Uniform Guidelines on Employee Selection Procedures (UGESP) and the glass ceiling. Okay, seterusnya saya akan menerangkan dengan lebih mendalam mengenai Uniform Guidelines on Employee Selection Procedures iaitu UGESP. Okay, Uniform Guidelines on Employee Selection Procedures ni adalah satu perkhidmatan yang digunakan oleh setiap syarikat ataupun perniagaan. Okay. The UGESP define a selection procedure in such a way that virtually any selection method, be it used in an external or internal context, is covered by the requirements of the UGESP. Substantial administrative and research demands on the organisation that are often difficult to achieve. Many of the methods of assessment used in internal selection attempt to gauge KSAOs and behaviours directly associated with a current job that are felt to be related to success in higher level jobs. UGESP ini mentakrifkan beberapa prosedur pemilihan dengan cara yang paling hampir dengan mana-mana kaedah. Assessment, mana-mana assessment. Any assessment, which is it can be any substantive assessment, preliminary issues, discretionary assessment, sama ada ia digunakan dalam konteks luaran ataupun dalaman. It is covered by the requirements of the UGESP. Di cover bahagian-bahagian ni di cover oleh UGESP, iaitu Uniform Guidelines on Employee Selection Procedure. Selain itu, the UGESP apply to any employment decision, keputusan pekerjaan yang secara mendalamnya termasuklah keputusan kenaikan pangkat. Itu pun UGESP cover juga dalam sistem kenaikan pangkat, proses kenaikan pangkat. When there is adverse impact, kesan buruk dalam kenaikan pangkat, organisasi diberi pilihan untuk justify melalui pengendalian kajian pengesahan. Especially kajian berkaitan dengan kriteria atau validity studies, kesahan kandungan. Next, dia tapi sebaik-baiknya kajian yang berkaitan kriteria ataupun reka bentuk ni, pengesahan ramalan akan digunakan. Okey, seperti yang sudah dilakukan okey. Sebahagiannya dalam kes assessment centers, pusat penilaian. Okey, but unfortunately ini mungkin akan membahayakan pentadbiran yang besar dan juga tuntutan penyelidikan terhadap organisasi yang selalunya sukar untuk dipenuhi. Okey, ia juga akan mengakibatkan pengesahan kandungan akan menjadi suatu pertaruhan yang lebih baik untuk tugasan pengesahan. Okay. Sesuatu yang kita rasa buruk itu adalah sebenarnya lebih baik, okay, iaitu UGESP ni. Bila kita gunakan UGESP ni, segala maklumat-maklumat akan tersusun dengan rapi. Okay. Many of the methods of assessment used in internal selection, okay, yang kita cuba untuk mengukur KSAOs dan tingkah laku yang dikaitkan secara langsung dengan pekerjaan semasa yang dirasakan berkaitan untuk berjaya dalam sesebuah pekerjaan di peringkat tinggi. Okay. For example, include seniority, performance appraisals, penilaian prestasi, and promotability ratings. Ini adalah berdasarkan kandungan pekerjaan semasa dan masa lalu, sekarang dan masa lepas. Okay. If legally necessary, jika perlu dari segi undang-undang, berkemungkinan berlaku sepanjang garis pengesahan kandungan dijalankan. Therefore, the organisation should pay particular and close attention terhadap keperluan pengesahan, iaitu validation and documentation. For content validation in the UGESP, untuk pengesahan kandungan dalam UGESP. Okay, for the second and last of the legal issues in internet selection is the glass ceiling. Okay. Selection methods used for promotion assessment are rarely mentioned in literature of the glass ceiling. Internal recruitment practice recommended may enhance the identification and attraction of minority and women candidates for promotion. Okay. The policy of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission (EEOC) on non-discriminatory promotion is: first is the KSAOs to be assessed must be job related and consistent with business necessity. There must be uniform and consistently applied standards across all promotion candidates. Okay. What is glass ceiling? Apa itu glass ceiling? Okay. The glass ceiling is a metaphor that refers to the barrier that marginalized people such as women and minorities encounter when seeking career advancement. Glass ceiling ni dia macam sebuah metafora yang merujuk kepada halangan yang dihadapi oleh orang yang terpinggir seperti minoriti dan juga wanita. Okay? Ketika sedang mencari kemajuan bagi setiap kerjaya yang dilakukan. Okay, itu adalah macam glass ceiling ni sebagai metafora lah. Okay. Kaedah pemilihan yang digunakan untuk penilaian kenaikan pangkat jarang disebut in literature of the glass ceiling. Okay, jarang disebut dalam metafora glass ceiling. Okay. This is a major oversight. Okay. Whereas the internal recruitment practice recommended boleh dia recommend untuk boleh meningkatkan pengenalan dan tarikan calon minoriti dan wanita untuk kenaikan pangkat, effectively matching them to their new jobs. Matching them to their new jobs requires applying internal selection. Okay, processes and methods. Okay, matching dia macam matching dengan apa-apa kerja baharu mereka secara berkesan yang memerlukan permohonan dalaman proses dan kaedah penilaian. Okay. The policy of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission (EEOC) on non-discriminatory promotion is kenaikan pangkat tanpa diskriminasi ialah yang number 1 is KSAO yang akan dinilai mestilah berkaitan dengan pekerjaan dan konsistensi dengan keperluan perniagaan. Okay, number 2 is kita mestilah ada piawaian yang seragam dan digunakan secara konsisten merentasi semua calon bagi kenaikan pangkat. Okay, the first possibility is for greater use of selection plans. Okay, seperti yang telah dibincangkan dalam bab 8. Okay, chapter, rancangan ini membentangkan KSAOs yang diperlukan untuk sesuatu pekerjaan. Yang KSAOs perlu dibawa ke tempat kerja berbanding dengan yang diperoleh semasa bekerja. Okay, and of those necessary, the most appropriate method of assessment for each. Pelan sedemikian memaksa organisasi untuk menjalankan analisis kerja, membina tangga kerjaya or KSAOs lattice, and consider alternatives to many of the traditional method, penilaian tradisional yang digunakan dalam sistem kenaikan pangkat. Okay, cadangan kedua adalah agar organisasi berundur, macam back away, back off daripada penggunaan kaedah penilaian tradisional sebanyak mungkin dengan cara yang konsisten dengan selection plan. This means a move away from casual, subjective method such as supervisory recommendation, typical promotability ratings, quick reviews of personnel files, and informal recommendations. In their place should be more formal, standardized, selaras, okay, and job related assessment methods. Contohnya termasuklah pusat penilaian, panel semakan bagi kenaikan pangkat dan simulasi temu duga, okay, interview. And a final suggestion adalah agar organisasi memberi perhatian yang teliti yang lebih kepada jenis-jenis KSAOs yang diperlukan untuk kemajuan dan menjalankan program untuk menyampaikan KSAOs ini kepada bakal pekerja. The developmental actions might include macam tugas utama dan tugasan jawatan kuasa, penyertaan dalam persidangan dan peluang rangkaian lain, program bimbingan dan pemulihan kemahiran dalam program latihan formal. Okay, itu adalah antara suggestion yang diperlukan untuk seseorang kandidat yang dicadangkan oleh glass ceiling, metafora glass ceiling ini. Okay, kaedah pemilihan dalaman kemudiannya akan digunakan untuk menilai kecekapan pada KSAOs yang baru yang diperoleh mengikut kepada selection plan yang telah ditetapkan. Okay, seterusnya saya akan masuk kepada case study iaitu promotion from within at Citrus Gland. Okay, saya akan baca ya. Okay, Mandarin Mandy Pamplemousse is Vice President of HR for Citrus Gland, okay, a juice producer based in South Florida that supplies orange and grapefruit juice to grocery stores, restaurants, and food processors throughout the United States. Okay, Citrus Gland has been growing rapidly over the last few years, leading Mandy to worry about how to hire and promote enough qualified individuals to staff the ever-expanding array of positions within the company. Okay, one of the ways Mandy has been able to staff position internally by contracting with Staffing System International (SSI), a management consulting firm based in Charlotte, North Carolina. When positions open up at Citrus Gland that are appropriate to staff internally, Mandy sends a group of candidates for the positions up to SSI to participate in its assessment center. The candidates return from SSI 3 days later, and a few days after that, SSI sends Mandy the results of the assessments with a recommendation. Okay, though Mandy has never formally evaluated the accuracy of the promotions, she feels that the process is pretty accurate. Of course, for $5,500 per candidate, Mandy thought it should be accurate. Okay. A few days ago, Mandy was hosting Thanksgiving and her brother-in-law Vin Pong joined them. Okay. Vin is a doctoral student in industrial psychology at Ohio International University. After Thanksgiving dinner, while Mandy, Vin and their family were relaxing on her lanai and enjoying the warm Florida sunshine, Mandy began telling Vin about her worries in promoting from within at the cost of SSI's assessment process. Okay. Vin quickly realized that SSI was using an assessment center. He was also aware of research suggesting that once one takes an applicant's personality and research and cognitive ability into account, okay, assessment center scores may contribute little. One must wonder whether this incremental validity, the validity that assessment centers contribute beyond the validity provided by personality and cognitive ability test would prove cost effective. After Vin conveyed these impressions to Mandy, she decided that after the holidays she would re-examine CitrusGland's internal selection processes. Okay. The translation is, okay, Mandarin Mandy Pamplemousse ini ialah naib presiden HR untuk syarikat CitrusGland. Okay, pengeluar jus yang berpangkalan di Florida, South Florida, yang membekalkan orange and grapefruit juice. Okay, bagi kedai runcit, kedai sebaneka, restoran dan pemproses makanan all over United States, Amerika Syarikat. Okay, CitrusGland telah berkembang pesat sejak beberapa tahun kebelakangan ini, menyebabkan Mandy risau tentang bagaimana cara untuk membayar atau mengupah dan mempromosikan individu yang cukup berkelayakan bagi kaki tangan pelbagai jawatan yang sentiasa berkembang dalam syarikat. Okay. Salah satu cara Mandy dapat menjawat jawatan kaki tangan secara dalaman ialah dengan membuat contract with Staffing Systems International (SSI), sebuah firma yang berunding mengenai pengurusan yang berpangkalan di Charlotte, Carolina. Okay, South Carolina. Okay. Apabila jawatan ini dibuka di CitrusGland yang sesuai untuk kaki tangan secara dalaman, Mandy menghantar sekumpulan calon untuk jawatan itu kepada SSI untuk mengambil bahagian dalam pusat penilaiannya. Okay. Calon-calon itu pulang dari SSI 3 hari kemudian dan beberapa hari selepas itu SSI menghantar keputusan kepada Mandy, keputusan penilaian kepada Mandy dengan cadangan. Walaupun Mandy tidak pernah menilai secara rasmi ketetapan promosi, dia merasakan proses itu agak tepat. Okay, sudah tentu untuk $5,500 setiap calon, Mandy fikir ia sepatutnya tepat. Okay. Beberapa hari yang lalu, Mandy menganjurkan event iaitu Thanksgiving. Okay, dan abang iparnya yang saya cakap tadi, Vin Pong, menyertai mereka sekali. Okay. Vin ialah pelajar kedoktoran dalam psikologi industri di Ohio International University. Selepas makan malam Thanksgiving, semasa Mandy, Vin dan keluarga sedang berehat di lanai, mereka sambil menikmati cahaya matahari. Okay. Mandy mula memberitahu Vin tentang kebimbangannya dalam mempromosikan dari dalam dan kebimbangan dalam mempromosikan dari dalam dan kos proses penilaian SSI. Okay. Vin segera menyedari bahawa SSI menggunakan pusat penilaian. Okay. Beliau juga menyedari penyelidikan yang mencadangkan bahawa apabila seseorang mengambil kira personality dan keupayaan kognitif pemohon, maka pusat penilaian mungkin menyumbang sedikit kesahan tambahan. Memandangkan kos pusat penilaian yang tinggi, dia beralasan seseorang mesti tertanya-tanya sama ada kesahan tambahan ini, kesahan penilaian itu pusat untuk menyumbang melebih kesahan yang disediakan oleh ujian personality dan kebolehan kognitif akan membuktikan kos yang efektif. Okay. Selepas Vin menyampaikan tanggapan ini kepada Mandy, dia memutuskan bahawa proses cuti dia akan meneliti bahawa selepas cuti dia akan meneliti semula proses pemilihan dalaman terhadap syarikat Citrus Gland itu. Okay, next slide kita masuk kepada soalan yang daripada case study tadi. Okay, first question is drawing from concept presented in chapter 7 measurement. How can Mandy more formally evaluate SSI's assessment process, and as Vin suggests, determine whether the assessment process adds anything above and beyond other selection measures she used, such as personality and cognitive ability test. Okay, maksud dekat sini. Okay, bagaimanakah cara Mandy boleh menilai secara lebih formal proses penilaian SSI, dan seperti yang dicadangkan oleh Vin, menentukan sama ada proses penilaian itu menambah apa-apa di atas dan di luar ukuran pemilihan lain yang dia gunakan seperti kepribadian dan keupayaan kognitif ujian. In my opinion, I think Mandy should more formally evaluate the SSI assessment process by conducting a formal questionnaire, or just simply asking the center to give a procedure that the candidates are evaluated for. Okay, by doing this, Mandy will get all the information she needs to review the process and the viability all at once. Pada pendapat saya, I think that Mandy patut menilai secara lebih formal proses penilaian SSI dengan menjalankan soal selidik rasmi, interview yang rasmi, atau hanya meminta pusat memberikan prosedur penilaian calon. Dengan melakukan dengan cara ini, Mandy akan mendapat semua maklumat yang dia perlukan untuk menyemak proses daya maju daripada kandidat, kesemua kandidat sekali, kesemuanya sekali. Semua kandidat. Question number 2. Question number 2. Construct a scenario in which you think Mandy should continue her business relationship with SSI. On the other hand, if Mandy decides on an alternative assessment process, what would that process be? How would she evaluate whether that process was effective or not? I think Mandy should continue to have her business relationship with SSI. It is because some of Mandy's recruitment methods have encountered mistakes that could hurt the employees and their trust over the company. Additionally, or on the other hand, Mandy could do on her own an alternative assessment process by undergoing all the other assessment tests that SSI conducts by their candidates. This assessment would be cheaper and lower the cost of fees that the company pays to SSI. The efficiency of this could be evaluated by these satisfactory levels of employees. Bina senario di mana anda fikir Mandy harus meneruskan hubungan perniagaannya dengan SSI. Sebaliknya, jika Mandy memutuskan proses penilaian alternatif, apakah proses itu? Macam jalan pintas lah untuk Mandy. Apakah proses itu, and macam manakah cara untuk dia menilai sama ada proses itu berkesan ataupun tidak. Pada pendapat saya, Mandy harus meneruskan hubungan perniagaannya dengan SSI kerana yang beberapa kaedah pengambilan Mandy telah menemui kesilapan yang boleh menjejaskan pekerja dan kepercayaan mereka terhadap syarikat. Sebaliknya, Mandy boleh melakukan sendiri proses penilaian alternatif ini dengan menjalani semua ujian penilaian lain yang SSI kendalikan oleh calon mereka. Penilaian ini akan menjadi lebih murah dan mengurangkan kos yuran yang syarikat bayar kepada SSI. Kecekapan ini boleh dinilai oleh tahap pekerja yang memuaskan. Ini adalah macam benefit untuk Mandy juga kalau dia meneruskan deal dengan SSI. Untuk soalan yang terakhir, nombor 3 daripada case study ini. Citrus Gland has considered expanding its operations into the Caribbean and Latin America. One of Mandy's concerns is how to staff such positions. If Citrus Gland does expand its operation to different cultures, how should Mandy go about staffing such position? Be specific. If Citrus Gland Company does expand its operation to different cultures, Mandy should go about staffing by recruitment advertising in local newspapers, put an ad online, jobs sites, and many more. Citrus Gland Company needs to do perfect job screening and generate a pool of applicants that will be of the best fit. Citrus Gland ni telah mempertimbangkan untuk mengembangkan lagi, untuk menambah lagi branch dekat Caribbean and Latin America, Amerika Latin. Salah satu kebimbangan yang Mandy rasa ialah macam mana cara untuk kaki tangan jawatan tersebut jika Citrus Gland mengembangkan lagi operasinya kepada budaya yang berbeza atau other cultures, and bagaimanakah Mandy harus mengambil alih jawatan tersebut. Secara spesifiknya, jika Citrus Gland mengembangkan lagi operasinya, menambah lagi branch kepada to other culture, kepada budaya-budaya yang berbeza, Mandy harus menggunakan kaki tangan melalui pengiklanan, pengambilan di akhbar lokal tempatan, dan meletakkan atau mengiklankan tapak dalam talian, atau pekerjaan dan banyak lagi. Syarikat Citrus Gland perlu melakukan pemeriksaan kerja yang sempurna dan menjana kumpulan pemohon yang paling sesuai kepada calon yang paling layak. Next slide is summary. The selection of internal candidates follows a process very similar to the selection of external candidates. One important area where internal and external selection methods differ is in the nature of the predictor. Due to their proximity to the data, internal job applicants potentially have greater access to selection data than external job applicants. Two areas of legal concern for internal selection decisions are the UGESP and the Glassily. Summary untuk dalam bab ini, internal selection ini adalah the selection of internal candidates follows a process very similar to the selection of external candidates. The logic of prediction is applied dan pelan pemilihan adalah dibangunkan dan dilaksanakan, implemented. Satu bidang penting di mana kaedah pemilihan dalaman dan luaran berbeza is in the nature of predictor, berbeza dalam sifat peramal. Predictor ni ialah peramal yang digunakan untuk pemilihan dalaman, macam tend to have a greater depth dan lebih relevan serta lebih sesuai untuk pengesahan, setiap pengesahan. As a result, the types of predictors used for internal selection decisions adalah berbeza daripada yang digunakan untuk keputusan pemilihan luaran. Okey, kaedah pemilihan awal digunakan untuk mengecilkan lagi kumpulan pemohon kepada satu set calon yang layak. Okey, dia akan filter semua calon candidates yang betul-betul layak untuk sesuatu pekerjaan itu. Okey. Pendekatan yang digunakan ialah sistem pengurusan, penggantian bakat dan perbincangan dan cadangan tidak formal juga. Okey, daripada pendekatan ini tiada satu pun yang sangat kuat dalam meramalkan prestasi masa hadapan. Oleh itu, consideration should be given to using multiple predictors to verify the accuracy of any one method. Keputusan ini juga menunjukkan keperluan untuk menggunakan kaedah penilaian substantif serta awal dalam membuat keputusan pemilihan dalaman in making internal selection decision. Okay. Kaedah penilaian substantif digunakan untuk memilih calon terakhir daripada kesemua senarai calon. Okay. Predictors used to make these decisions are seniority and experience. Okay. Lebih kepada seniority dan pengalaman, experience. Okay. Job knowledge test, ujian pengetahuan, performance appraisal, penilaian performance, and promotability ratings, assessment centers, interview simulations and panels, and also review boards. Okay, daripada set peramal ini, ujian pengetahuan kerja, job knowledge test, promotability ratings, penilaian prestasi, promosi and assessment centers work well. Penilaian promotability ratings, penilaian prestasi promosi and assessment centers work well. Pusat penilaian berfungsi dengan baik. Okay, itu adalah sangat bagus. Okay. Organisasi perlu memberi pertimbangan yang lebih besar kepada last three predictors. Okay, last three peramal 3 yang terakhir to supplement traditional seniority and experience. Okay. Although it is very costly, the assessment center, pusat penilaian seems very okay. Okay, kerana ia berasaskan teori sains, tingkah laku dan logik ramalan, logic of prediction. Okay, in particular, samples of behavior are analyzed. Okay, multiple assessors and predictors are used. Dan peramal juga dibangunkan berdasarkan analisis pekerjaan mereka. Due to the proximity data of the data, pemohon kerja dalaman berkemungkinan mempunyai akses yang lebih besar kepada data pemilihan berbanding pemohon kerja luar. As a result, procedures must be implemented to ensure that manual and computer files with sensitive data are kept private and confidential. Two areas of legal concern to internal selection decisions are the UGESP and the glass ceiling, seperti yang saya sebutkan tadi lah. Okay. Dari segi UGESP, penjagaan khusus mesti diambil untuk memastikan kaedah pemilihan dalaman adalah sah jika kesan buruk berlaku. Okay. Untuk meminimumkan kesan from the glass ceiling ini, organisasi harus menggunakan lebih banyak lagi rancangan pemilihan dan kaedah penilaian dalaman yang lebih objektif serta membantu menyampaikan KSAOs yang diperlukan untuk kemajuan. Okay, kiranya kalau kita gunakan glass ceiling ini, kita perlu memperbanyakkan lagi various of methods ataupun assessment supaya kita dapat membuat pilihan yang paling tepat untuk setiap organisasi itu. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.